My name's Harmon. I'm from Colorado, and I am stationed in Denver with my cash-based PT clinic, which is called Repeak Sports and Rehab, and that's inside a CrossFit box. So I'm a doc in the box. Some of the problems that I first occurred when I was trying to just start cash-based PT clinic that I really thought the CashPT blueprint could help me with was saving me time. So when I start trying to go through all the business administration, setting up your LLC, getting a lawyer, what are the resources? You can start trying to piece this all together, but the CashPT blueprint was a nice little hub that said, okay, here's all your information. This is how you started. And it's just a huge time saver because you can spend hours trying to figure out the best lawyer, to figure out the best way to set up your LLC, whether it should be single member, multi-member. And CashPT Blueprint had a lot of those resources just right there at my hands. And I had the confidence that he had done, Aaron LeBauer and his team kind of put it all in a good package and already done all that for me. So it saved a lot of time. The main reason why I enrolled in the CashPT Blueprint was Aaron LeBauer's story, which was kind of, hey, you should never be able to do this as a new grad. You can't do it. You need to put your time in. So there was an emotional piece, which I got really attached to. And then there was just the business administration, saving time, which allow you to really put your efforts towards other things that you're not as familiar with, like developing a website or other things. Because if it's all there, you can just kind of start plugging and chugging. You don't have to waste hours just researching. And so those two combined is why I decided to enroll, because that story really resonated with me and it really helped me say, yep, I want to go with this. When I actually started my CashPT clinic was on my last clinical residency or rotation. I had about a month. I just passed the boards. I knew I wanted to do this. I already had watched a lot of Aaron LeBauer's stuff on the CashPT Blueprint. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to do it. I know I'm going to have about 2 or 3 weeks that I can have free before I actually have to interview for jobs. I'm going to start it now in my last month. So I started it and just kind of went with it and rolled, and then just started putting all that time in. So I knew I could up front make it start running on itself once I had my job that was in a different clinic part-time. The one thing that made the biggest difference with the CashPT Blueprint, how it changed my clinic, was you kind of provided a blueprint, because there's other people who do this service, but what Aaron LeBauer and the CashPT Blueprint does better, I think, than all of them is it gives you a blueprint to run a clinic with low overhead, which and kind of just goes back to the roots of physical therapy. You just need a critical mind, a very good way to analyze movement, in your hands. And he says that many times in the CashPT Blueprint. You just need your hands. You don't need a ton of equipment. Is it nice? Sure, but you don't need it. That's kind of what changed it for me, because it allowed me to, because I didn't have a ton of capital, so I needed to have a low overhead, and he allowed me to start it earlier than I would have if I needed to save up $10,000 or $20,000 to get a bigger clinic started. So that was one of the biggest things that kind of was the biggest difference for me using the CashPT Blueprint with the immediate effectiveness for my new clinic. Aaron LeBauer and the CashPT Blueprint taught me how to run a clinic with low overhead, with as little capital as possible, and still produce a very valuable product, a very valuable experience for your patients that they will continue to keep coming back to your clinic for. Since enrolling, I only had about 1 to 3 patients a week when I started. And then the nice thing about the CashPT Blueprint is your webinars and videos that are always updated with current philosophies, ways to get marketing, ways that, certain, CPT codes that are changing. So he's always keeping you up to date. And the biggest thing is when he's talking about marketing, email automation, any tech savvy stuff, has allowed me to stay up with that and then implement it, which then allows me to have a better marketing strategy to actually get patients in the door. And the biggest thing was some of the examples you gave for live events or workshops. You give good examples in the CashPT Blueprint, which has helped a lot. It gets your ideas churning, and then you just sit down, you write a good event. So I would say I've been able to generate a lot more, patients coming in the door based on some of the marketing strategies you've laid the foundation for. It's going to save you time. It's going to give you resources through not just when you first get it, but continued resources, whether you talk to Aaron directly, which Aaron LeBauer has been very responsive, whether you message him on Facebook or on the forums themselves. And then you have access to a Facebook group, which is a community of everyone who's doing the same thing, which you can get questions answers really quickly, or you can get critical feedback, which is very helpful. It's going to be worth your cost within 6 months, I would argue, for that first a cost that you end up putting out. So I would recommend it highly because you're going to get way more than you realize. I know the big chunk of change at first, you always look at it and you're skeptical, but I can tell you, I was skeptical, but I definitely know I get my money's worth because every time I go back on, I listen to a video. There's ideas that will just come to me because I'm listening to someone else talk about it. And those usually generate 3 new patients, and you times that by X amount of weeks, easily pays for itself. So I definitely recommend it for those reasons. Can I actually get this thing rolling enough to pay for itself? And that was just more of a lack of confidence because I was a new grad starting something that was kind of new for me. But within a month, I realized I could, after kind of putting in the work and listening to a lot of stuff you put in the CashPT blueprint. So you will easily get your money's worth if you put the hard work in while using his products. It's the same way we treat patients, right? You're going to get better, but you're going to get a lot better, and you're going to actually get to the point where what we promised you if you meet us halfway. So it's the same thing with this. If you don't do the work, then it won't be as effective. But if you do the work plus use his product, you'll see a lot more patients and you'll see your clinic grow. I would say what made it worth the investment for me as a new grad starting was the time saved. I didn't know I could do it myself, right? I could waste millions of hours, but it would have took 6 months probably till I was comfortable to open this thing up and talk to certain lawyers. The time saved allowed me to get the ball rolling. And that was the biggest thing, because as soon as you get the ball rolling, things start to happen that you can't predict. And, you meet people and you network. And that's the biggest thing to starting anything, is just having the confidence to go forward with it. And the time saved allowed me to do that because you had all the resources right there. When you use the CashPT blueprint, make it a goal to check the videos once a week. It gets crazy. You're working a ton. You're trying to, balance the work, family life, but try to make it a goal to look at the videos at least once a week, and then maybe try to make it a goal. I did early on, I don't do it as much, which I need to change, to post or respond to somebody's Facebook post in the CashPT blueprint. Just makes the community a little bit better, and then you'll get a lot out of it. So that would be something I would add for someone who actually enrolls.